If you're building an AI-powered no-code app with Bubble, then you need to check out useplum.com because they can help you build, test, and deploy AI features with confidence because they've got this amazing pipeline tool that you can bring together lots of AI-powered nodes to create workflows that simply wouldn't be possible in a Bubble app alone, including, if I go and show you this, here's a really simple pipeline combining two AI requests to two separate AIs, combining them in the same output and returning that, and it looks like this in my Bubble app. So it's a content generation AI that I've built. I'm going to demo from a blank canvas how I built it in this video, but we get back some lovely structured JSON, so no more having to use split by to identify different parts of the response from OpenAI. We get a title, we get tags, we get content, we get tweets, and we get our tweets in a nice list in the JSON. So let me show you how I've gone about and built this by diving into the Plum pipeline builder. So here's where we start in the Plum pipeline builder. I've created a new pipeline called content generator. And the first thing I'm going to do is set my inputs. So I'm going to have, let's have topic, because I'm going to feed in a topic, I'm going to feed in some keywords, and I'm going to get a series of AI responses out, all back in a single call, while pointing out as I go some of the really cool features that Plum offers that makes this easier than if you were building the pipeline or the workflow in Bubble alone. So we're going to have topic, and we're going to have keywords. And they're both required. Let's make a bit of space. Then I'm going to go into AI prompt and drag in the text LLM. And I'm going to rename this to generate blog and hit save. And link the two up. So when you pass data through a Plum pipeline, you have to have a direct link between the two. So in order to access my topic and my keywords, I need to create a branch going between them. So now I can write my prompt in here. So I can say write a SEO focused blog post about, and then I can insert my topic, try and include the following keywords, and then I can insert my keywords. And now this is where I'm going to find it really easy to begin to demonstrate how Plum helps out getting the right prompt with the right AI model, just so that you get the right response, basically, because it's dead easy to swap between the different providers. Now, when you're testing it at the moment, Plum provides their own keys behind the scenes, but when you deploy to your pipeline to production, you will need to supply your own keys for the different providers. But I don't want to have to wait for GPT-4. I'm going to say, let's use GPT 3.5 Turbo. And I can test it. So let's test it. I'll say topic, building AI no-code apps with Bubble. Keywords, let's say OpenAI, Chat GPT, and Claude. And it's now going to run the pipeline, even though I've not completed it. And this is part of the power of Plum, is the ability to test, revise, revisit different parts of the pipeline. So now let's run the next step. And part of a frustration from even when we first started using GPT 3.5 Turbo with Bubble, but particularly with using GPT-4, is the fact that if you ask for a lot of content, here we go, here's a blog post, it can take a really long time for the AI to respond. Now, I'm going to do a completely separate video on this, but just as a kind of tease of what you can also do, you can set up a webhook. At the moment, with the return response, you know, the loading bar goes across the top of your Bubble app. Your user is waiting for the response, at least if you run it in a front end workflow. But by using a webhook, you can basically think, well, actually it's going to take 15 minutes to generate all this AI content. The Bubble app's going to time out waiting for a response. I can use a webhook in order to send the data through to my Bubble app when the data is ready. Now, let's actually update this, because that's a little bit unstructured. I don't want raw text. I want a structured output. as a record, because I want to have, and you can see I've had a few goes at this. I want to have a blog post title, and I want to have the blog post content, and actually both of these I want to have required. Oh no, that's not. No, right, so the record is the blog post, and then I'm going to have a blog post title and add another property, blog post content. And this is all going to go in behind the scenes into the prompt that Plum constructs for you and sends off to, in this case, OpenAI. So it does help to think descriptively about the property names and the descriptions that you use. Because we can just now rerun that. Because at the moment, this is, there's no structuring involved. It just says title, colon. But now we've got, if I expand it, is that going to help? Yeah, there we go. Now we've got different fields or different parameters, different keys for our output, which is really helpful because that allows me to structure it more as we go on. Right, let's add in another LLM step, because I also want some tweets, and I'm going to demonstrate how we can create that nice list where it's automatically divided up already in the JSON. So I'll say generate 3 tweets, and I'll say write 3 tweets about, and I'll just insert the topic. I won't bother with the keywords. Now we can use structured output, and I can say list. So I'll say list of tweets. And yeah, I'll just have write a tweet on the topic, and I'll set that in. Now I want this to be really quick, so I'm going to change it to Anthropic and change it to haiku. And let's run the whole thing from the top once more. Okay, and there we go. There are our 3 tweets separated out in the JSON that's replied. So what we've got here is 2 separate AI calls, and we're now going to combine them into a single response. So to do that, I need to use a data processing mode, and I think it is compose. Move this down here. And so on compose, I'm going to rename it and call this one combine responses. So you could branch this off, and you could have 5 different LLM prompts going off and waiting for responses. And so I'll bring these into here. And now I build the structure of what I want to respond to my Bobble app with when the AI, the endpoint, the Plum pipeline endpoint is run and data is sent to. So I'm going to have a blog post. And that's got a few properties. I've got title and I've got content. And then I'm also going to have tweets. And there are no properties on tweets. Let me just add that in again. Tweets. Okay. And then I'm going to link it up to the response. And now the response, I say, well, what data do I want sent back to my Bubble app? Well, I don't just want it to be empty. I want to send back a step, and I'm going to send back the combined responses step, and I want to send back everything in it. So let's test the whole pipeline from the top. And I should say, as well as being able to deal with the wait by using a webhook instead of return response, you could easily go in here and you could easily change the model, because if I thought, GPT 3.5 is too slow, or I just want to test in the midst of my workflow pipeline, where lots of LLM data is coming together, I just want to swap it out and try another model. And you can do that in Plum. And just imagine how much time can be saved in Bubble, because you might have to otherwise run this all in a back-end workflow where you wouldn't be able to test individual bits, easily revise them. Plum is here to save you that time. So here's the response. And yeah, we've got our tweets and we've got our blog post. Right, final part of the video, how do we plug this all into Bubble? So we can go deploy, and I'm going to skip straight to production and copy this endpoint. And I already have my Bubble app sort of set up to run this. So I've got my, I've got Plum. If this is all familiar to you, if you've ever worked in the Bubble API connector. So I'm just going to replace the endpoint and then check that I've used the same keys, topic and keyword. Topic and keywords is what I've written there, keywords there. Fine. Cool. So let's give it a try. Now there's one bit that I missed and had caused the workflow to fail, which is that, on the tweets here, if I add this back in, I'll say tweets and then, generate 3 tweets. And then I just have to say, no properties yet. Because now if I run it, it's going to work. Okay, there we go. It has worked. We've got a response into Bubble and we've got all of this beautifully structured JSON data based on our combination of multiple LLM prompts using different models. And Plum has been there to save the day, save us time, save us debugging time, especially. So that's a really simple demonstration of what you can do with Plum. I'm going to record a video demonstrating how to use the webhook feature for if you're having to wait a really long time for an LLM to respond. But there's so much that you can do with Plum. I'd recommend heading over to useplum.com. In fact, we'll have a link down in the description and reaching out to the team because they've been working closely with me and they've done some amazing demos of pipelines that will just blow your mind of what is possible, including things like transcription into an AI, separating out different speakers. It's amazing. So yeah, do click the link down in the description to find out more about useplum.com.